SVG's At the Rink series is taking you inside live in-venue video production in this very unique NHL season at NHL arenas around North America. Today, we're taking a stop in Philadelphia, and we have the pleasure to be joined by Tina DiVilio. She is Senior Director, Game Presentation for the Philadelphia Flyers. Tina, it's wonderful to talk to you. How are you, and how's everyone at the team? How's everything going?
I'm so excited to finally talk to you. Everything's going really, really great here. It's been a nice, smooth transition, and we have fans back, so it's exciting.
That's exciting. I can't wait to talk to you about that. You're a first timer. This is your first season with the Flyers. You had a nice run on the West Coast with the San Jose Sharks. So what's aside from moving during a pandemic, which is probably a whole other story for another day, how's Philly life treating you?
Philly life is absolutely awesome. There are some perks. My fiance's from here, so it's a kind of a city I've always wanted to live in. But Philly life's treating me great. I have a great team under me. Artie, Alexa, Justin, Larry, Hunter. We have a fantastic game press team under me, and kind of showed me the ropes right away, and welcomed me with open arms and welcomed my crazy ideas with open arms. And so far, so good. It was interesting moving with no fans at first, starting the year with no fans, but it was a challenge we were willing to take, and we were able to try some things, and it's so far so good.
Sure. Well, we'll definitely talk about the fans in the building now, which is where you're at as of now. You guys are at about 15% capacity in the arena as of the end of March. But in those first few months when you were coming in and you were working in an empty building, what was that experience like for you? Are there any other words that you can describe other than weird? What was it like kind of just being a part of that experience? Obviously, last summer, the NHL finished its season in the bubble, so it was a totally different story. When you guys got back into Wells Fargo Center and the Flyers are playing it again, and you were working some of your first games with the team, what was that experience like for you?
Weird is the word. Weird is absolutely the word. My first day, so I started 2 days before the season started. So a lot of the stuff, everything was like kind of already planned and under works. We didn't really change much of our creative. Our brand stayed anytime, anywhere, because it made sense. Anytime, anywhere is still happening right now with COVID. But yeah, weird was the word. I know LJ at the Niners, one of my dear friends, described it to me perfectly. Nothing will prepare you for a game with no fans, because that feeling is going to be so weird. And like you feel like the chosen one, even being in the building, and like you're almost entertaining yourselves. Like that's your goal. You know, if you're entertaining yourselves, you're doing a great job. So it was just, it was strange. The crowd noise at first, I was like, man, this is like, it really fills the room. Like it was almost overwhelming at first. And now when you cut the sound, it's weird. Like you need the crowd noise. Like at first I was like, I'm not going to like this. Like I know we have to use it, but I'm not going to like it. But now I like having it, you know? So it's just like, it's the whole philosophy of like trying to entertain 20,000 people to now just being like the 15 that are in the building, and making sure the players on the ice are happy, and making it a very player driven show so that they feel like they have home ice advantage regardless. We handled it really well, and we were so excited to welcome fans back to kind of show them what we've been working on.
Nice. Yeah. And March 7th, I believe, was that first game when you guys got the chance to bring some fans back in. Aside from being a shot in the arm, did that make any dramatic differences for you? Like you said, you were programming a show in the first few weeks of the season designed for the players. Was it a stark difference that day that you got fans back in again? And in what ways did it change? Were you spending a lot more time doing, safety announcements and, relaying messaging to the fans that maybe it's not the sexy stuff that's going to light up the building, but is important messaging you need to get across? That day, when you finally got fans in the building again, what were the biggest changes that you guys had to consider?
So luckily enough, we spent a lot of time planning after noticing kind of what the Eagles went through, where it was a last minute, you're having fans in the building and like suddenly they were taken away, and it kind of went back and forth. So luckily we had been planning for quite a bit, almost since I started. Even though we knew there were no fans, we had a plan. It's going to happen. We just need to have our plan in place. And we planned for actually a lot lower numbers. And then the city kind of gave us the 15%. And we're like, all right, like, let's go. This actually kind of gave us more fun to have, I guess, like, because we were able to use our effects and everything, because we knew we were having 3,100 people in our building. So the one specific thing we kind of had to gauge and kind of change our approach was the crowd noise. Because at first our crowd noise operator, Justin Ott, who is actually one of the producers in our department, he on a game night, his role changed to being now crowd noise operator. And they've said the perfect person to do crowd noise is someone who knows video games, someone who knows the game of hockey, someone that knows how to operate audio equipment. And Justin was the perfect person. And he was like, I'm going to do it. And I think he embraced it real well without fans and was like, I am the voice of the fans. I have to mimic what 19,000 people would sound like on if someone got checked into the boards or if we scored a goal or if a goal was scored against us. And he had to basically be what the fans would sound like. And then having fans, he had to change his whole mindset to how do I supplement what the fans sound like? This is what they're sounding like. And how do I enhance it and make it sound better? So I think that was one of our biggest challenges, and it took about a game or two. And now he's not missing a beat. Like whatever the fans sound like he's amplifying it and making it sound like there's 100% capacity. And like you said, some of the other stuff was the safety announcements and how do we incorporate that to the show and make it not so kind of like dry, but also effective. And so far, we haven't had many ejections from what I understand. They haven't asked me to continue to pump it any more than I have been, which is great. So we run these announcements. We actually it's a graphic gritty with the mask on and making him take his mask off when he's eating and mask back on when he's not. And we do that pregame. We do it pregame before warmups, pregame after warmups. And then we also run it first period and second period. And so far we haven't had much issue there. The first couple of games we kind of embraced it. Andrea Helfrich, one of our in-arena and digital hosts, she had the great idea of let's kind of encourage people to show off their mask and keep their mask on. So the first couple of games we did an unofficial mask cam. We didn't call it that, but we said you want to see us on the video board, get up and show us your mask. And there were some people who had some ones that lit up and some bedazzled ones. And it kind of worked out those first couple of games. And then people kind of knew it was coming and people were, it wasn't really so much of a new thing anymore. People were used to wearing them. So we didn't have to encourage them in that way. You'll get on the video board if you're wearing your masks, but it helped those first couple of games and the building side loved it. They're like, oh, you're making it cool to wear your mask. So There's not many issues. Yeah, we had some new video elements that kind of encouraged the mask wearing and the concessions protocols and that sort of thing. But we kind of tried to embrace it in an entertaining way. And like I said, utilizing gritty and utilizing our hosts in game and such, and just kind of making it cool to follow the rules.
Nice. All right. I love that. As a rule follower, I love that.
Yes.
Now, I can't wait for the day where I don't have to ask everyone this question, but for now, we're going to continue to ask it with hopes that maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But what protocols have you had to take within your control room there at Wells Fargo Center in order to keep the crew safe, keep people distanced? Have you needed to, kind of Frankenstein the control room in any way in order to allow people to maintain the distance? What have you needed to do in order to keep your crew feeling okay?
So we moved a few positions out to press row. We have one of our expressions, we have Silver out on press row. So one of our Ross expressions machines is out there. Lou Nolan, our PA announcer, is no longer in the penalty box. He's up on press row. I sit next to him. We also have one of our EVS machines out on press row. I think I'm trying to picture it right now. I'm pretty sure that's all that we moved out of here.
Okay.
Over in the areas that are a bit closer to one another, that are a bit more compact, we have that aren't physically able to be moved. We have the plexiglass between. Each person still has to wear their mask as long as they're in the control room, unless you're taking a sip of water. Honestly, that's really the only time you take your mask off when you're in the control room. In our lighting booth, we have, again, there's 3 people in there at a time, and there's plexiglass between to account for social distancing, 6 feet apart. And yeah, the mask wearing is the biggest thing. We're really on it. We take it very seriously here, both on our side and the Sixers. I know technically Comcast and the Sixers are separate, but we do have the same crew that puts on their games, and it's kind of see something, say something. You think anybody might be sick, or you think you may have been exposed, like that. Everyone is taking it very seriously and doing their part. We haven't had an issue yet.
Okay, very cool. Well, you've definitely done a great job of giving everyone their due throughout the course of the conversation here, but certainly want to give you the opportunity to kind of hand out some bouquets here. These protocols and all this extra work and everything, it only really works if you have a team that's willing to, really put in the work into, like you said, follow the rules and kind of want to do what's best for everyone else on the team. So who are some of the people on your team that have kind of been both crucial in in helping you guys get this show off the ground on a daily basis under very unique circumstances. And also just for you personally, helped make this transition pretty as seamless as it can be for you.
So Artie Halstead is number one. We're like dynamic duo over here. He's the senior producer. He's a show caller. He's been here for about 15 plus years at this point. He knows the inside and out of this building. And Alexa Eichler, also, I know you've interviewed her for a few things. She's phenomenal. She's a rock star in this industry. And them two are my rocks right now. They're getting me through everything. They've got everything organized. They've transitioned me into a lot of things. They make sure I know about everything that's going on, include me in everything. Alexa's been our lead floor manager, floor director, also handles a lot of our finances and stuff behind the scenes. Same with, which is very important this year of all years. And she's doing an absolute fantastic job at that, making sure we stay on track while also making sure we have the elements that are in the show correctly. She handles the ice team, our in-arena talent, all of that, making sure they're in the know on when, so because we've brought certain elements back, like Everett Jackson, our in-arena host, and then Andrea is a full-time digital producer, but we've incorporated her back into the game and just really staying on top of all of that. And then we also have Hunter McGinnis, who's our Ross expression specialist. So he has that machine programmed inside and out with the stats, with all the different looks. He's got that thing down. So he's on it with any of the graphical changes that the building may ask us to do when it comes to protocols, keeping track with stats and milestones. I know Giroux's had a lot of milestones here and there. So he's really, really been a major help. And then we have Justin Ott, who's one of our producers here, crowd noise extraordinaire, taking on that machine, which is probably the most scrutinized machine in this industry at the moment, because everyone has an opinion on the crowd noise. Yep. And with him, honestly, we haven't had to deal with much feedback because he's embraced it so well and really has utilized it to its absolute fullest. So he's just amazing. And then we have Larry Lights. We have a full-time lighting director who handles all of our lights and special effects. He is, I can't speak enough about this team. They're absolutely amazing. Larry does all the Sixers games, all the Flyers games. So does Hunter. Hunter does both. So they have a pretty hectic schedule. Justin comes in for a lot of Sixers games as well. So they are working to their fullest right now with a compact schedule. But they are also incredible people. We've been testing all kinds of different lighting looks with fans versus no fans and all that kind of stuff. And really testing out our special effects to the fullest, like using our pyro a little bit more in videos than we would typically use it. And just kind of trying to stretch what we have. And this is the year to test things. This is the year to see if it works or not. This is the year to see if the fans are into it, like these are our diehard fans that are coming to the games right now. These are our season ticket holders. These are the ones that have been here from the start, because they're the ones who have the accounts that are being asked to come to these games, and they'll tell us if they don't like what we're doing. And so far, so good. So far, people are staying till the end of the game. We're playing different music. We're trying to appeal to every fan that's out there. And this team, I honestly, they're the best. They're awesome.
That's really awesome. Fantastic group that you have there. And Tina, we were kind of chatting a little bit before we got on here, and you were talking about how basically working in this side of the industry is something you've wanted to do since you were a small kid, like preteen, we're talking here. And you've already had a wonderful start to your career. But I don't think anyone could have expected to experience what this entire industry has gone through over the past year. So now at a new home in Philly, working with the Flyers in the Wells Fargo Center, towards the end of your career in San Jose, producing and directing video board shows in empty arenas, to now doing it for small crowds in arenas under safe circumstances. When we do, and we will, get back to packed houses again at Wells Fargo Center, what's something you've learned over the past year that maybe has stuck with you that you think will make you better at your job when we do get back to quote unquote normal?
It sounds very cliche, but don't be afraid to take a chance. Like you don't know if something's going to work unless you try it. You can't just sit there and have this idea and be like, I don't know if it's going to work with fans, or I don't know if it's going to work without fans, or what if they don't like it? And it's like, well, what's the worst that can happen? They don't like it, and you learn, and you take it and you try to improve. You retrace your steps, and you kind of analyze exactly what you did. Either you know what to do to make it work, or okay, we gave it a good hard try, but let's move on to our next idea. Because honestly, little things like, I think it's in the corner somewhere, this was for no fans, but we didn't debut it till the last game before we had fans. And it's literally a bouncing DVD logo. We made the Flyers logo a DVD logo, and we had this like in the can for a while. And we were like, all right, this is just for us. Let's do it. And we threw it out there. And we're like, should we do it with fans in the building? I don't know. And we didn't even put it on the script. Second intermission of the first game with fans, we tossed it in there. We were like, why not? We have time to kill. Let's put it up there. The place goes bonkers every time that thing hits the corner. It's hilarious.
That's it.
To the point where we made a noise meter out of it. And we play it later in the third period and it says, remember this? And it literally just goes absolutely crazy all over the screen. And people are like, yeah. It's like, it's nuts. So like, just little things like that. You're like, oh, that's so simple. Like, but people might think it's kind of silly or stupid. I don't know. But like, why not? Let's just throw it out there. Like, don't be afraid to take the chance. It might work. So there's new generations of fans coming in this building. You have to learn how to not alienate the older generation, not alienate the new generation, but really make sure people leave the building having a great time, feeling like they got their money's worth, win, lose, or draw, because that's how you build a fan base. When even if the team's not winning, like if people leave the building having a good time, they're going to want to come back. Like, so it's our job to provide that entertainment experience and the home ice advantage at the same time. And also appeal to partners, season ticket holders, accounts, all that kind of stuff. So I think we're doing an excellent job, and I'm really proud of everybody taking chances and trying ideas that they thought were a little too daunting in front of a full building, but now trying it in front of 3,100 people, be like, oh, these 3,100 like it. Let's try it for 20,000. So
yeah. And like you said, I mean, you're talking about Philly sports fans here. If they don't like it, they'll let you know.
Oh yeah. I've become very well aware. My fiance is a 30-year-old born and raised Philly fan, lives and dies by every single sports team in this city. I'm like, who's your favorite? He's like, whoever's playing that day, like that. So he's like the perfect person to like kind of gauge things off of. You like this? Love you don't like this? Like, what would you want to see?
Perfect. Well, Tina, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we congratulate you on the new role. Congrats to you and the team. One day we hope we can get back in the building and see your great work. But until then, we really appreciate you joining us, and we wish you nothing but the best the rest of the way. We know everyone's schedules in the NHL are kind of a little wacky now with some busy weeks. So we really, really appreciate you carving out some time out for us. And it's great to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and I was so happy to do this.
All right. She is Tina DiVilio. She is Senior Director Game Presentation for the Philadelphia Flyers. For more on the Flyers and many of the other NHL teams in our At the Rink series, head on over to sportsvideo.org.